Howdy, ESSM 406. On a previous lecture, I gave you some advice on how to do well in the course. As we come into the last unit, I just wanted to cover those ideas again. The best place to orient yourself as to the goals of this unit is on the memo rubric and instructions. Every memo requires the same strong writing skills, but the content area for each memo changes. The lectures and readings are meant to help you understand and use those concepts in your writing. For this final unit, it's not necessary to read every page of the assignments. However, you should use them as a resource to inspire you on your thinking and writing for the memo. In the pre-quiz, I will again ask you about the major concepts from the readings. So for this memo, your second to last, your mission is to analyze the strategies that different actors have used in the past to change environmental policies and to propose strategies that actors could use to improve policies. In your previous assignments, I asked you to focus on analysis, not on favoring one side or the other, but for the purpose of proposing strategies that could be used in the future. But this time, I'm asking you to focus on the strategy that would further the goals that you agree with. I want to understand what you've learned in the class and how you think you can use those principles to advance the policy that you think would best solve your environmental policy issue. So the readings that I've given you provide a range of strategies that could be applied to changing environmental policy, but not necessarily all of them are going to be relevant to your issue. So, for example, in the reading I gave you from Deborah Stone, she discusses how in democratic societies, policies are the results of various forms of political conflict. In the Rothman reading, he discusses 3 strategies or approaches to community intervention. And while his writing is focused on social work, not environmental policy, these approaches are really quite relevant for our work in natural resource policy. So the first approach is locality development. And this consists of actions which are aimed at changing behavior through mass action. And you can think of educational campaigns or community action campaigns looking at water conservation or recycling or using the hand dryer rather than the hand towels in the bathroom. These are all just examples that fits that mold of thinking. You can also look at the second approach, which is social planning or policy, and that refers to technical processes. So you might think of scientists doing cost-benefit analysis or structured decision-making for that. The third approach is social action, and that consists of direct action and organizing for change. And this approach is expanded on in the manual from the Ruckus Society that I have you reading, and it provides a variety of strategies from organizing direct actions and includes a long list of examples. So Gene Sharp is a scholar whose writing on nonviolent direct action has had a huge influence on the world and included in some of the manuals for what happened in much of the Arab Spring uprisings. Now, the final articles discuss approaches that don't really fit into Rothman's typology, but they're widely used in changing environmental policy. So O'Leary discusses how bureaucrats working within a government agency collaborated to subvert their boss's intentions and improve an environmental policy. And in contrast, Fleischman discusses ways that bureaucratic decision-making may be influenced by the wrong considerations. And these examples might be particularly interesting to any of you who want to work in government, because it shows the ways that lower-level bureaucrats can act not only as implementers of policy, but also as entrepreneurs on how to change policy. Nee discusses the strategic use of regulatory enforcement and litigation to change environmental policy outcomes on public lands in the U.S. And this has actually been one of the U.S. environmental movement's most effective tools. Finally, Reason provides a number of case studies on how small businesses and business people have worked to transform their industries into environmentally friendly ways. And I've used a lot of this in the work that I do in the Democratic Republic of Congo with businesses that are just starting out along the borders of Virunga National Park. But this is a really long reading, And I think it's super interesting, but you don't necessarily have to read all of it. You might want to just choose some of the case studies within it that are most pertinent to the work that you're working on and skim the introduction, and don't worry about the final portion. Anything after page 85 is not required reading. So, as in previous assignments, you should confine your memo to 800 words. And we're trying to keep your writing concise. So I've tried to put upper and lower limits on your writing because writing concisely is as difficult as writing enough. Your 800 words are just going to be your text. It doesn't include your header, and it doesn't include your bibliography. And you should use the policy memo format. All references should be in the correct APA 6th format. And you're required to use a minimum of 2 references from the readings that I gave you. And then you should find 4 references that are really pertinent to your particular issue. And they are not ones that I've given you already. So in total, you should have at the very least 6 references. And don't forget, you still have the chance to meet with either the Writing Center or your TA. You get 10 points for each. You can't use both of them on the same memo, so if you haven't taken advantage of that, you have an extra credit of 10 points available to you for each of those meetings. And I hope you have a lot of fun with this unit. You're getting to show your opinion this time, and I'm really looking forward to reading your memos. Have fun writing!